my drink that I'm addicted to here. All right, guys, this is the first time I am doing this. My name's James Farley, and we are doing a podcast. It's going to be called Metuchen the Past. So kind of like a play on the words, reaching into the past. Working title, Tommy, I'm not 100% sure. What do you think? Okay, decent.
Working on the past?
Metuchen the past. So it's like touching.
It all works for me. I'm part of the past. Yeah.
And that's what
further back than I care to believe.
You and me both, brother. You and me both.
Yeah.
So, guys, this is an honor. What we have right here today is because if you grew up in Metuchen in the 1980s, in the 1990s, in the early 2000s, you knew a place called Tommy's Baseball Cards, and I know it was rebranded a few times under different names.
Yeah, baseball cards, comic books, and collectibles.
That was the effect, right? Okay, excellent.
Ultimately, yeah, collectibles was thrown in there.
Ultimately, I went to that, but it was. I mean, that was the place that it was the place that every kid went to. When I was in grade school, I begged my mom to take me to go to Tommy's shop here. And it was just, I would save my money. I love the baseball cards. I love the comics. When I got older, it was the things to do. We would want to go to Tommy's. And that was a lot of the people in my grade. It wasn't just me. There were so many people that visited this place. So Tom Dobranski, welcome to the show, the first one ever. Yeah, it is so
good to be back.
Yeah, heck yeah. And aside from being an icon from a lot of our youth, Tommy is the most patient man in the world because I'm very slow with technology, and hooking up these mics was like a normal person doing surgery, and it took me hours yesterday to figure it out, and then another about hour today or so, maybe a little less.
Were we on noon yet, or are we on noon?
Noon of what day? It turns out that I actually I forgot the battery yesterday, and today I forgot to press one of the buttons, and and here we are. But
here we are.
But we made it. We made it. So Tommy, I wanted to just start with the very beginning, just getting a little background on you. So, where were you born?
I was born in West Palm Beach, Florida. But my earliest history is a little bit clouded in that I was adopted at the age of 5.
Okay.
With practically no recall of my first 5 years, other than being in an adoption home, which turns out to be over there in Roselle Catholic.
Right.
Was once an adoption. What do you call it? A place of adoption, where they kept kids,
like an orphanage.
Yeah, an orphanage.
Yeah,
that's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
So yeah, me and my brother, we were there, and we got adopted. I was 5, so we're talking about 1953, and parents were still in the military at the time, so we moved down to a military base in Virginia, and from there my father got discharged, and we moved to Clark Township, New Jersey, where they built their first home, and stayed there for a couple of years, 1st through 3rd grade. Went to St. John the Apostle School in Clark.
Okay.
I can still remember the nuns with their rulers. Bam! It's just a lasting memory, And I ended up in Cranford for 4th grade. And I probably should have stayed back that year because the teaching in public school was so more progressive than that in Catholic school. I was way behind in everything. But they push you ahead anyway. And I never did catch up.
No, I don't know about that.
Well,
in life though, you're a pretty sharp guy still, Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, you talked about being in the orphanage, and you didn't remember till age 5. But you did have one really cool memory. As a Met fan, I don't appreciate it as much as I should. I believe there was a perfect game that kind of struck your interest in sports.
1956,
Yes.
Yankees, Don Larson. It's a memory that still haunts me. I mean, I have dreams of Yogi Berra jumping into Don Larson's arms at the end of the game. I mean, I can remember it crystal clear.
Yeah.
And what was I, 8 years old?
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. I guess that was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I consider myself very lucky to be a Yankee fan, to have lived through Mickey Mantle, Reggie Jackson, Thurman Munson.
Yes.
My heroes, Don Mattingly, Derek Jeter.
Yeah.
Now you got the Judge.
Yes.
3 home runs the other day. Unbelievable. He got 4 already.
Insane.
In 3 games.
And you also got Juan Soto. Oh wait, no, he's a Met
now. We had him, and you're never going to get what we had. Believe me. He'll never be the same.
It makes for better conversation if I say, because I'm a Met fan, I grew up in the 80s when they were good.
It's all good.
And, it makes for better conversation.
I don't root against them, except when they're playing the Yankees,
man. Yeah, then it was war for a couple.
I mean, I've actually gone to a few Met games. I went one year as a fan, as a Yankee fan. The Yankees weren't in town, and I wanted to see a ball game.
Yeah.
So I went to see the Mets, and I'm wearing my Yankee cap.
Oh, you're one of those guys.
and I'm walking around carrying these hot dogs and sodas, and I get cornered by a bunch of Mets.
Yeah.
And they flipped my cap off. I thought it was going to be really dangerous situation. It calmed down relatively fast, and it was kind of good natured. But
Met fans are classy in general, so I'm surprised that even got to that.
Seriously, oh come on! Met fans don't know what class is.
No,
the Yankees invented class. All right.
Hey, we're still working on that title number 3 every year. I think that's going to come.
Good luck. Good luck with that. Right?
It's easy for me to say, like I always say when people are like, because that's your pivotal memory, like the perfect game. So I like saying Bill Buckner was mine, but in reality,
what a contrast!
What a contrast, right?
The good, the bad, and the ugly.
But the reality is, I remember my first true memories was really the '88 series against the Dodgers, and so why did I stick with the Mets after that? My life could have been a lot easier had I just gone with the Yankees, but.
Well, I've got an exceptionally bright daughter who grew up, because I was a Yankee fan, she decided she was going to be a Met fan.
Oh.
But growing up, she realized what a losing situation she was back in, and now she's a diehard Yankee.
And now she's
good for her. She
saw
the light,
Absolutely. So wait. What were your earliest experiences with like baseball cards, and was it after that game did that really get you into it?
Even before that, because I can remember collecting in '55. The Bowman cards looked like television screens.
Yeah.
I remember them, and I remember there was a delicatessen within walking distance of my house in Clark that you could go and buy packs of baseball cards. I mean, they were a nickel back then. Yeah. And I remember buying a box or a half a box or whatever of baseball cards, and they came out in series back then. So if you didn't buy the right series, you could have had a series with no stars or practically no names.
Right.
And I'm getting doubles and triples and quadruples of some guy on Pittsburgh Pirates that I never heard of.
Backup catcher.
But then as I progressed, into the years, we trade the kids in the neighborhood. We traded cards. We flipped them. We played. They were gambling games. You flipped your card, and it had to land on top of one of theirs, and then you scoff it up.
Wow.
And it was my Mickey Mantles against their Willie Mays and Duke Snyder's. And,
how painful a memory is that, though? Look at how much those would have been worth. You're like flipping them.
well, worse than that. As I grew up, I accumulated shoeboxes full of cards and stacks of comic books this high in my closet. And I left home shortly after graduating high school. And by the time I came back, they had sold the house and everything in it. And my cards and comics were nowhere to be found.
That's the worst.
I mean, everybody's got their story. That's mine, and I'm sticking to it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I must have told that story every day for 17 years of being in business.
Oh,
because everybody wanted to share their stories, you know?
Yeah. Now that's interesting. Because I could share a similar story with the comics I bought from your place. Like there were so many that were valuable and so many that was like, oh, this is, one day, and you move, and now
where are they?
I don't know. A landfill in Staten Island, unfortunately, probably. Right. But yeah, I guess that's what happens. So, Tommy, where did you go to? You mentioned St. John's. Was that your high school?
Grammar school. First through third grade.
Okay. And where did you go to high school?
I started freshman year. My father was a dentist, all right?
Oh, wow.
He had high aspirations for me.
Okay.
He sent me to Oratory Prep in Summit.
Oh, how about that?
Private boys' school.
Okay.
Freshman year, I went out for football. I mean, I'm all of 120 pounds soaking wet. And I was like the tackling dummy on the team. But I did stick it out for a whole season. I think I got into play 1 or 2 games. Disaster. Total disaster. I mean, you see the classic football shots of a running back running down the field, and he sticks his arm out and pushes the guy into the ground.
Yeah.
Well, that was me getting pushed into.
At least you're on the poster, though.
There you go.
That's interesting.
But yeah, I went there. My second year, I went to Union Catholic over there in Scotch Plains.
Okay.
And by my junior year, my parents they gave up on the Catholic private school concept of me getting educated. And I landed in Cranford High School for my junior and senior year. And that was probably as good a thing that could have happened to me. My brother, he went out for football and played JV and senior football. He has great memories of that.
That's awesome.
My brother and I were only like 15 months apart, so
okay, yeah,
we were pretty close back then.
Oh,
Still are. I'm glad.
Yeah. Is he local? Does he live around here?
He lives in Roselle.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, we see each other.
I'm glad to hear that. That's very cool. Now, after high school, you worked in the Island Water Company. Is that correct?
Middlesex Water Company was located in Island.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Their offices are located in Island. Yeah, I worked first in the treatment plant for 5 years, and I actually took a pay cut to get out of the treatment plant. I thought, for what they wanted me to be capable of doing, I was grossly underpaid. The responsibility that went along with being in front of a panel of charts and dials and stuff, and knowing what to do in case of emergency, it's no way, man.
Yeah.
For what they're paying me, I should not be that responsible for anything.
Yeah, nerve-wracking.
So I went to the maintenance end of the company and ended up reading meters for the rest of my duration, and that I felt dehumanized by it. I thought, man, a monkey can do this job. Really. And I looked in the mirror and said, a monkey can do it. What are you doing with your life? And at that time, early 80s, Yeah, it was in the early '80s that I started thinking that way, and yeah, I was collecting. I was collecting baseball cards again as an adult
Right.
back in '82. I was hospitalized with some minor surgery, and my wife brought me a book of stickers.
Yeah.
And so I started collecting these baseball stickers, and it just caught on to where I had to have the whole set. I had to fill that book up. And it was kind of ridiculous as I look back, because you'd be paying 50 cents or something for a pack of stickers and getting the same ones over and over again. And there weren't that many people collecting stickers back then, so you had nobody to trade with.
That's before you got when you were young, before you got away from it and went to work for the water company. Did you ever have dreams or aspirations of like one day I want to open up my own place?
I knew I wanted to be my own boss.
Right.
You know, I didn't know doing what. I always had dreams that at some stage in my life I would be a millionaire.
Yeah.
So I was just going to land on $2 million.
I'd be cool with that.
Whether it was inherited or I wanted, or I didn't know how I was getting it, but I had this confidence that I was getting it somewhere along the line. Never happened. Never happened. You know?
Yeah, no. I like that though, being the entrepreneur spirit. You started collecting in '82. In 1980, early '80s, there was a card boom. As far as like there was a popularity, and so what?
I started collecting. It was kind of ground floor time period for garage sales and flea markets to be peddling cardboard.
Yeah, right.
And comic books, I guess, as well.
Yeah. And there was
people having this stuff, not thinking it was worth anything, selling it for pennies on the dollar.
Yeah.
And today, there were small fortunes if you still had it.
Yes, for sure, for sure. And you had a quote when I was just reading some stuff about you, is that you had said that if you had a baseball card, you put it in your back pocket, and you like got your card washed accidentally, you could dry it out and put it back. You wouldn't think anything of it, not realizing how much it was going to be down the line.
Yeah, sure.
That's just that's crazy.
I mean, late '50s, early '60s, Marvel comics, DC comics, they were selling the original Spider-Man.
Yeah.
For a dime. I don't even know what it's worth today, you know?
Yeah, thousands.
Yeah. And books like that, I would fold in half, put in my back pocket, ride my bicycle, go play baseball. And then after the game, I might sit down and read that comic book.
To dry your hands off, to wash it. You know?
Yeah.
That's a bummer. I guess that's why they're so valuable, you know?
Well, that's it. That's what people don't realize. That when they got into it, they started buying baseball cards by the box full, thinking that they were going to put their kids through college on this stuff.
Right.
That ain't how it works.
Right.
This stuff has to be legitimately rare to become valuable.
Right.
And there's nothing that was printed in the '80s, '90s, 2000s that's rare.
Right.
Other than the lottery picks that the companies would throw into a 1 in 1,000 case.
Right.
You know, a numbered card of Joe Montana or Tiger Woods, an elite athlete, numbered 1 of 10.
Right.
They became valuable because 1 of 10 was written right on it. This is a scarce card.
Yes, right.
But when you buy a box of cards, those cards were printed by the millions.
That's the thing,
You know,
right? Yeah.
they printed them out on huge cardboard sheets, put them through a machine that cut them, sometimes accurately, sometimes not so accurately.
Interesting.
So if you got a box of cards and all your cards were off center and you sent them in for grading, they never came back 9s and 10s because they were off center.
Oh,
You know?
oh. How about that? That's
Sure.
interesting. Well, so
And that happened. It happened a lot, you know, with I think Ozzie Smith's rookie card was off center for the most part, and Ricky Henderson's cards were. So many cards were.
Ozzie Smith. I remember Ozzie Smith rookie, a Barry Bonds rookie, and a Mark McGwire rookie, and we thought they were going to be worth like millions. This is going to be.
I remember doing a card show where I sold at least 10 or 12 Mark McGwire rookies at $100 a piece.
Wow, yeah.
And I don't think he's even. I don't know if he's worth that much today.
No,
I don't know. I kind of doubt it.
What a fall from grace! What a fall
It's a
from
shame.
grace!
It's a shame what happened, and it kind of shouldn't have happened because these guys were. All they were trying to do was the best.
Yeah.
They just wanted to be the best.
Yes, I completely agree, and it's one of those things. I hate to be a pessimist with this, but I tend to think people are always going to figure out ways around things, and it's like even the people that we think are, doing it the right way, and we hope. But I'm not shocked when A-Rod, for instance, used to be the big thing where they're like, oh, A-Rod, he's doing things cleanly. We want him to break the record, and that just was always that pessimist, and then eventually comes out that he wasn't as clean as we thought.
Yeah.
You just never know with these.
And a lot of players weren't,
Right.
And a lot of players probably were never discovered to have
Right.
been under those influences, and they're in the Hall of Fame.
No one that ever played for the Mets, though. They're all straight shooters and honest, and that's why we don't.
Well, how many are there? I mean, can you count them on one hand?
See, there, Mike Piazza, Tom Seaver. Help me.
Yeah.
Did Noah Ryan go in as a Met? No, he didn't.
And even Piazza, there's question
marks
next to him.
I hear with him they liked him because he's a nice guy, so they didn't want to go after him. But yeah, I'm sure. I'm not naive. How do you do all of this stuff though with the cards? And so you're injured. You get stickers. You start to get into it. How did that go though? From just like, oh, I'm going to collect. Like, it's a big jump to say I'm going to make this a business. Like, how did that happen?
Well, I was reading meters. I was going in and out of people's houses. I was going in and out of stores. And I guess it was back in 84, 85 that I walked into a deli in Hope Lawn. And attached to the deli was a room. And I would have to go through that room and down the basement to read the meter. And as I walked through that room, I noticed there's nothing here. There's a pinball machine.
Yeah.
That's all there was.
Yeah.
Nothing. And I envisioned a baseball card store in that room.
That's cool.
And I had been keeping my eye open for such a thing. And it was like the light bulb went off in my head that day. And I made an arrangement with the owners. I don't even remember what I was paying them rent. But I took it on part-time. I kept my job with the water company. And I stayed there for a couple of years. And one day in walked this guy named Murray. He owned some real estate here at Metuchen.
Okay.
And he said, you're in the wrong location. He said, there's no money here. I thought, what do I know about where the money is in this state of New Jersey?
Yeah.
He says, I'm out of Metuchen, and there's money in Metuchen. Why don't you come over there and set up shop? I'll help you. Well, he didn't just help me. He basically built. He had space. He owned maybe the whole building. I don't know. number 400 Main Street.
Yes, that's where the original place was. Yeah.
Where Haley's bar is right now.
Yes, yeah.
Well, his wife ran a travel agent at the front of the mall, that building. And then next to it was a delicatessen. And then there was me with a gate.
Yeah. Bringing me back,
going
man.
across the entrance. I mean, you could stand by that gate and look in and see everything on display. You know, there was no solid door closing it off.
Oh, right.
And
that was
my first year in there, 1989. I was doing well enough where I gave my notice to the water company.
wow.
I'm out of here. I cashed in all my savings through them, other than my future.
Yeah.
And yeah.
It was such a
89. That was the year of the Ken Griffey Jr. rookie card upper deck.
Yeah.
So the hobby was booming that year.
Yeah. Wow.
And, I had so much space in this place, didn't know what to do with it, and decided from some of the helpers that I had, the comic books made sense.
Right.
So my landlord, Murray, he built the bins for comic books. Yeah. And then I met a connection of a guy who was a buyer and seller of comics, where he had a huge inventory, and he was selling me chunks of his inventory, you know, by the hundreds, just so that I could fill these bins up.
Yeah, yeah, right, yeah.
And have something to offer the public.
Yeah, no. So let me, for anyone that doesn't know, like, this place was amazing. I believe it, from my research, it said it was quadruple the size of your original place, right? When you went to 400 Main Street.
Yeah.
So this place, it was amazing. Basically, like, in the front, you had all these baseball cards, memorabilia, autographs. And in the back was, as Tommy described, a whole area just dedicated to comics. Here's the thing, and like I don't think I appreciated it when I was younger. You in the front, so there's incredible. Some of the cards that you had tobacco cards. Can you explain what tobacco cards are? Because I thought that was really fantastic. That was really interesting.
Well, at the turn of the century, tobacco companies were printing copies of baseball players on smaller pieces of cardboard and installing them in the packs of cigarettes. So, you know, if you were of smoking age, I guess your father, he was buying the cigarettes, and here, kid, here's a baseball card. And
wow,
they were common names and not so common names back then, and there were thousands of them.
And those were the first cards, right? Essentially.
Basically, yeah.
And you had this blew me. You had a Ty Cobb.
I probably did.
That's insane.
I had Ty Cobbs. I had Babe Ruth.
Yes.
Out of a newspaper or a magazine print that was recognized as a true rookie card.
Wow.
You know.
That's insane. That's Mickey Mantle, Jackie Robinson. It was like a who's who. Like, I thought, like, if someone told me they had those cards, I'd say you're making that up. That's not.
No,
that's not possible.
I had them. I did have them. I had a Mickey Mantle Topps rookie card with a tape scar on the back.
Okay.
So the card itself was easily identified,
right,
as to who owned it.
Yeah,
I owned it at the time, but it got stolen.
Oh,
my store got robbed.
This is what I wanted to mention. Yeah, so it was covered July 28th. I believe Home News. July 28th is 1989. Mickey Mantle, I believe the one you described. worth almost $3,000. I think it was $2,800. Like
At
that's
the time,
now, oh man.
can't even touch it. Even with the tape scar, you'd pay thousands of dollars for it.
Oh my gosh! So this, just to give everyone, because this is news to me. I didn't know about this until I was researching. I couldn't believe it. So Tommy's, and when he, as he says, first year in 1989, he's doing really, really well in business. At that time, all the kids are starting to know about this place, gaining in popularity. He was the victim of a robbery. I believe the 3 places in there had gotten robbed, but you got hit the hardest. Just to let you guys know, Tommy in that robbery lost estimated $20,000 in stolen baseball cards. A 1952 Mickey Mantle, it was $2,800. A 1955 Roberto Clemente, which was $750. This blew my mind, and it also blew my mind that it wasn't more valuable.
It is today.
Well, no,
Yeah.
1933 Babe Ruth, and it was valued at almost $500, $495. Why would that not be worth like?
Because it was almost newspaper print quality.
Oh, I see.
It was really. It was even hard to classify it as a card, because of the source.
I see. Okay.
And anybody that had the card, the card from that time period, either ripped it out of the magazine or cut it with a pair of scissors.
Right.
And they didn't have plastic card holders back then.
Right. Yeah.
So it got worn. It was near impossible to find one that you could call mint condition,
Right.
or even excellent for that matter.
Yeah. No.
So
wow.
They were there.
That's incredible. Willie Mays, $400.
Yeah, Willie and Mickey, their cards coincided. Their rookie cards, they both had 55 Bowman rookie cards, and then they both had 52,
wasn't it?
51.
Oh, 51, okay.
51
okay.
Bowman, and then 52 Tops.
Okay.
Yeah. And they were beautiful cards, both of them.
I've seen pictures.
Yeah.
I've never actually.
I have at home a 51 Mickey Mantle rookie card on my wall. But if you took it out and read the back of the plastic, it would tell you that this is a reproduction.
Oh, okay.
So if you're looking at it from the front, don't bother stealing it. Yeah.
Retail $20. No,
I mean, I bought it thinking it was the real thing.
Oh, and the person
This is the kind of thing that would happen in the hobby if you were not knowledgeable of what was going around. There were counterfeits of everything that had value, and the only way you could detect it would be with a jeweler's loop.
Right. Oh, with that, like that. Okay. Yeah. I never.
And you could see the grain of the paper.
Wow.
Versus the dots.
Right.
That you should see in a photograph.
Interesting. Is that easy to differentiate if you know what you're looking for?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
Sure.
See, I wouldn't catch something like that. That's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, even back into the 80s, Don Mattingly rookie cards were being counterfeited. The Don Russ model was there were known counterfeiters out there.
Wow.
So it was buyer beware.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's not good for any business.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, when you have to scratch your head and question, is this real?
Yeah. I remember just that you mentioned about, so I bought a Don Mattingly rookie. I don't believe it's from you. It's from the card show. And I bought Don Mattingly rookie and a Kevin Moss rookie. Do you remember Kevin Moss?
One hit wonder.
I was like, this is going to be something.
Yep.
Until they realized he couldn't hit the curve.
When Aaron Judge came out the first year, people automatically went to Kevin Moss.
Kevin Moss.
Went on to, is this going to be Kevin Moss all over again, or is this going to be the next Mickey Mantle?
Yes.
And God bless us all. We've got the next Mickey Mantle.
You really do.
Yeah.
Even as a Met fan, I love the guy.
Yeah,
He's,
you have to.
He's a
beautiful man.
He is. He really is. Yeah. What was I gonna say? So, one question I had when I was reading this: Did anyone ever catch the person that did this?
Yeah,
they did. Oh, can you discuss, or is this something you don't want to talk about?
It was somebody, a kid of a store owner in the building.
Oh, wow.
Okay. He actually crawled under the what do you call it? Expanding screen.
Yes.
He managed to crawl under. He probably scraped his back in the process. Took as much as he could, threw it back under, crawled back under. I mean, I had alarms.
Yeah.
So he did it all within the time, that he maybe within a minute,
And that was the one, because when I was reading it, I was curious too, because it said there was like padlocks and that it wouldn't, like it wasn't like anyone smashed it in.
No.
So, oh my gosh, wow.
He went under. He set off the alarms.
Wow. Oh, he did set off the alarms.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
okay.
alarms did go off.
Wow.
But by the time anybody came to check it out, it was gone. It was done.
Did you get the merchandise back?
I got some of it back. I was doing a card show in Clark. I think it was in Clark. And the guy setting up right next to me started putting these binders out on a table. And I thought, they look familiar.
It's so awkward.
Oh, very awkward. I opened one of them up and I said, whoa, this is mine. This is mine. I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Oh, you got to be kidding me.
And the guy next to me, he saying, I don't know what you're talking about, man. I bought these legitimately, and I went to the promoter. I said, the guy working right next to me is selling stolen goods. How do I know? Because they're mine.
Yeah. How do you prove that though? That's so, because like you said in the game, like what stops someone from just saying,
when I went and made my claim with the Metuchen police, I gave them as much description as I possibly could of each item. And even the content of that particular binder, it was all New York Yankees vintage stuff from 48 through the 60s, maybe.
Yeah.
It was Yogi Berra's, Whitey Ford's.
Oh my God.
Allie Reynolds.
That was you. I made a note of this because I couldn't believe this. Bear with me just 1 second. Where you at one point collected every Yankee card from the 40s to
48 was the year I was born. So, and yeah, Bowman, I think that may have been their initial year. Black and white square cards. Yogi Berra's first card was in there. But yeah, I collected every Yankee except for a handful of Mickey Mantles that I just couldn't afford to buy.
Oh yeah. Wow. Yeah. You had all of those.
I had them all right through 84, I think.
Yeah, I see this. Very good memory. Yeah, I finally found it in my notes that night. I was like, oh my gosh, complete sets. That's incredible.
Well, yeah,
that
because
awesome.
Sets of teams were not issued by the card companies.
Right.
The buyers of boxes of cards, they would break them down, and Yankees here, Braves here, Phillies here, and you would find out that, okay, in this year, 12 or 15 or 20 Yankees were printed, and I would collect the whole.
That is so cool.
If need be, card by card. Yeah.
Wow, that is really interesting. So on a negative note, and I don't know if you wanted this. I thought this was really interesting because it was I think it was in your earlier days in the business, but you had said, you said that this is a direct quote, and it's from the Home News. So you said, if you grew up having an idol and you meet them face to face, your opinions might change.
Yeah, right.
I was a big Reggie Jackson fan until I met him. What happened? I really want to know this story.
Me and a friend took a ride to King of Prussia, Pennsylvania.
That was a bit of a drive, okay.
Yeah, well, it was a couple hours maybe.
Yeah, sure.
But Reggie Jackson was appearing in this hotel, and I brought with me a Reggie Jackson model bat, black bat, hoping that I could get it signed. Well, I didn't bring it in with me. I left it out in the car. And once I was in there, I got just a feel of the territory, and he was signing balls and flat items. So I asked Reggie if he would sign a bat. He said, "Oh, you have to talk to the promoter about that." I said, "Yeah, I guess you could. $25. That was the fee for him signing a bat versus maybe $10 or $12 for signing a ball or a flat surface item."
Yeah.
I thought 25. Okay, I'll do it. I really want this thing. So I get the bat, and I'm sitting at the table across from him. He's sitting about that far.
Okay.
And I give him the bat, and he takes the bat in his hand, and he's feeling the weight of it, But he said the bat is coming within six inches of my nose.
What the heck?
While I'm doing it, like somebody casting a fishing rod.
Yeah. What is this?
Yeah, this is one of my older ones. He said, "Well, it's great, Reg." He's scaring the shit out. Excuse me.
Yeah, that was okay. Yeah.
He's scaring the shit out. And he said, "Yeah, I'll sign it." And so he signs it in silver marquee.
Okay.
And I just, there was something about his character that just went the wrong way.
Yeah.
I mean, he was asked by the promoter to move into a different room because of the crowd size. And he gets up, he takes a microphone in his hand. "I don't need this.
Wow.
All I need is a couple of hot dogs and the air in this room to breathe. I'm staying right here." Oh, okay, Reg. I mean, who behaves like that?
Yeah. No, that is.
So yeah, I lost a little bit of something with Reggie, and prior to that, even I did a Gloria Rothstein show in Raritan Center.
Oh wow! Okay.
That was Mickey Mantle. Other Yankees. I think there were 6 or 7 different Yankees, including the Mick.
Oh.
And when I went to get Mickey's autograph, he bent down under the table. He pulled out a beer.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. Actually.
Come on, man. I don't know with these impressions in this mind,
Frankly, I'd be disappointed if he didn't, because that's what I always heard that he did.
Well, you see, at that point, I had 1985. I went through AA and rehab, and I got off alcohol.
Interesting.
So here this is in 1989 or so. I'm 4 years sober, and my hero's sitting here getting drunk in front of me.
Wow. That's
kind of weird.
One of those moments.
Yeah. Okay, Mick. Nice meeting you. Good luck.
my dad used to tell me stories that he would supposedly sign and they'd give him vodka or whatever he was drinking, and he would sign until like he basically passed out, and his signature would get worse and worse as the day went on.
He had a beautiful signature.
Yeah.
There were some players that were sloppy as hell, but his signature was gorgeous.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah, it was a really.
Reggie's was good. I mean, if you could read the name easily,
Yeah.
I thought that was good.
Yeah.
Try looking at a Joe Montana autograph.
What? Who is this guy?
Yeah. If somebody didn't tell you, if it wasn't written on the back of the object that this is Joe Montana's autograph, you'd never figure it out.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And there were a lot of athletes like that. Still are, I guess.
Yeah.
Even Derek Jeter, he's so fancy. And if you didn't know it was him, you'd have trouble figuring it out.
You would, yeah, absolutely.
Nothing against Derek. I love the guy.
The cap. I mean, I love him and hate him. He's broke my heart a few times. Derek Jeter. I love him and hate him. He game, what was it, 4 of the 2000 World Series? We just won game 3. We're feeling good, and first pitch, bam, and we never got back in that series. Yeah, that was those were the days, man. But you also had, it was kind of cool, and I actually remember these. There was like visits from like superheroes and stuff. Like you brought in like there was a Spider-Man visit. Did you do any like? I remember the Spider-Man. Were there any other promotions like that?
I had an artist, Brian Polito.
Yes. He
was the creator of Evil Art.
Yes, yeah, sure, yeah.
And he had aspirations of creating a film one day. I think he envisioned Coca-Cola as being a sponsor. I don't know. I don't think it ever worked out for him.
I was curious because I looked up a couple of things. He started his own. He did work on. I actually wrote some of his down. Comics with like Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Chainsaw Massacre. He did something with. He has like a not exactly Marvel, but he has his own like independent comic. Right. So I think he did okay. You know, like
I'm sure he did.
Yeah,
he was the nicest guy in the world. I mean, really, there was nobody nicer than Brian.
Yeah. That is really cool.
But yeah, I always wished him a lot of luck. I mean, I was never a big comic guy, you know.
That's what I
did what I had to do to promote the business.
Right.
And he was great. He was great. And but no, I only had one time later in the Penn Street store that I had Sakura, a hockey player from the Devils.
Oh, okay.
He was supposed to appear on a Sunday morning in store signing autographs. He calls up that day and says he can't make it.
That's not cool. You probably had people like waiting.
Yeah, sure. And the only thing he could offer me would be a private signing at a different time and location. And so my friend Jerry, friend Jerry arranged it where he sat down with a stack of 100 photos and signed them all. And today I've still probably got 90 of them. I don't know. People wanted to meet him.
Yeah.
In person.
Right.
That's the thrill of buying an autographed item if you get it done personally.
Yeah.
You know?
That was I had recently it was part of a show over in Woodbridge. I forget the name of the establishment, but it was a bar over there. And I got to meet LT from the Giants, and hero of mine. And I hear all the stories. I'm not sure what to expect. I gotta tell you, the nicest guy. He was so nice. And I got, like you said, the thrill. I got to talk to about how I used to play with him in video games and Tecmo Bowl, how he couldn't be blocked, and he was like, "Yeah, I was a good Tecmo Bowl player." I was like, "Yeah," it was like just such a cool experience, you know. So
there you go.
you're right, a lot better than just a signed picture, you know.
Right.
Could you talk about some of the challenges that you had first, in the first couple of years? I think it was something about, it was like you were a direct seller, so you couldn't, if you purchased too much of a specific comic or that you couldn't give it back, so you're kind of like stuck with it if it didn't.
Yeah.
Any challenges as far as that stuff goes?
You're always after the next big thing. You wanted to be a step ahead.
Right.
And so if you thought a new character was coming out and people were giving it thumbs up as being the next big thing, you might buy 100 copies of it.
Right.
And if it worked out, you sold 80 or 90 of them and you kept 10 behind. But most of the time it didn't work out.
Oh, man.
You'd buy 100 of something and only sell 15 or 20, and you'd be stuck with 75 or 80.
Oh, yeah.
And they went into the bins, and ultimately, they got lost in the shuffle.
Yeah, sure.
But
so that brings me to a big, as far as like ordering things, the big thing, big in my lifetime. It was November 18th, 1992, around that date, but it was 1992, the death of Superman. So it was Superman number 75, and you helped me get a copy of it, which I appreciate so much that for showing the audience. I even got this tattoo. This is the death of Superman, the emblem that was on the cover right there. So that's the impression.
Black bag.
The black bag. Yes. That was awesome.
And there you go. You got a gimmick. You put a comic book in a sealed black bag. And the buyer says, if I open this, it's going to be worth less.
Yes, right.
But if I don't open it, I'm not going to know the story. So let me buy two.
Yeah.
One to read, one to, what a concept,
You're killing my child this year. It is a concept, though. That's good. So they did, if you remember, they had it was there was the standard issue that was like not in the black bag, like you said, and there was like the black bag one.
Yeah.
So it's from what the research I was doing said you ordered 750 copies of it. Was that it's a good amount, right?
I might have.
Do you, especially because I'm always curious about that comic in particular, did sales reach expectations, or were you kind of like, man, I'm stuck with 600 Superman comics?
I did well with the death of Superman.
That was a good one? Okay. Yeah, so most, okay. You said most of them were pre-sold, so you didn't get no one stiffing you on it or like leaving you with a bunch of inventory?
No, well, not that one. That one did well. Spider-Man after 9/11 came out with a comic, black cover. At least it wasn't bagged in plastic. But
actually,
and with black, it was always hard to get anything authenticated and graded highly because it was black.
Right.
The slightest chip showing white, it would knock the grade down.
Right.
So I did well with that as well. I mean, there was some challenging times. You get a book called Deathlock or something.
Yes.
It's supposed to be a big seller, and it turned out to be a dud.
Oh, Deathlock. That's really interesting. Oh man, yeah. I always wanted to, and you kind of alluded to that. I always wondered this. If you had it your way, and you say you could have filled up that entire space with just sports and sports memorabilia, you would have just stuck with sports, like comics really weren't your thing?
It became my thing.
It did?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. As I brought it in, I remembered as a child, I was big on Batman and Superman.
Yeah,
I
there
was
you
a
go.
DC guy.
Yeah.
So it's kind of unfortunate to find out that the Marvel universe, which all the first prints came out in the 60s. I didn't have any, and I had to begrudgingly buy books that I never really fancied myself with.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. No, that's
Yeah, I had Marvel sent over a guy in a costume, Spider-Man.
yes. Yeah.
He'd actually sign comic books, Spider.
Yeah, man.
I think I may have one or two.
I should have.
Yeah.
Tommy, I still have a poster that I got from your store that day, and I believed that was actually Spider-Man that signed it.
Sure, why not?
For years, I was like,
Yeah,
it was
you
a
were
lot of
6
fun.
years old, and this guy in a
Yeah.
costume came up and shook your hand.
Dude, it made my, and that's what I'm saying. I was like walking on there. That was like really cool. Something else really cool, and I think this would be perfect because you mentioned Batman. So there was it was called Nightfall. There was a series, Nightfall. If anyone is a comic fan out there, if they remember it, it was a series with Batman, and it was a big thing because Batman breaks his back against this supervillain known as Bane, who has since it's been done in movies a bunch of times since. Well, when all of these comics came out, I go to Tommy's Baseball Cards, and I have, I don't know, a couple of dollars, maybe like 20 some odd dollars, but this series was so big that they had so many issues of it. So I grab every comic, and I'm looking through, and I'm seeing what I could afford, and I go up to the front, and I go to pay, and I'm counting out change, and I'm digging, and I don't have any money at the time. I'm just going through. And Tommy here sees me, and he sees me counting. He knows I'm going to come up well short. He's like, "It's all right, just take it." And he gives me the comics. And he must have lost a good $7-8 on that pack. And I just, his thing was no price is set in stone. Like you could always negotiate things, and he always looked out for the little guy and for kids, which. I was just, we were talking before we set this up. Could you imagine going into Barnes and Noble with a stack of books and you're short on money and they're just like, don't worry, just take these books, you're good.
Right.
And that's so it's just such a I'm not naive, times change, and I realize we can't go back to that, but it's just he was just such a great guy in that regard. We all really love that. He's a very good person. One thing I wanted to mention too about Batman, so is 1997.
What's that say on the screen?
Oh, here, hold on. Let me just update this here. Sometimes you just gotta move the. If you go too long, you just have to just type in. But yeah, we are still good. One thing that I wanted to take from it was 1997. And this was covered in the home news. There was a sale that you handled, vintage comic books, owned by a Mr. Michael Colby, and it was estimated between 30,000 and 35,000. Can you tell us a little bit about that collection?
He came in to the store, told me a little bit about who he was and that he was trying to produce music, I believe, for a Broadway production, but he needed some money. He brought me a brown shopping bag, and the bag was in worse condition than the books that were in it. It may have been in a suitcase initially, a suitcase with a brown bag in it. The books that he showed me, he got them as a what's the name of that Jewish ceremony that kids go through?
Bar mitzvah? Yeah.
Got him as a bar mitzvah gift from his grandparents or something.
Yes.
And he had them. He didn't have them in plastic bags. No, nothing. And I had never held in my hand books of this status. They were from the 30s.
Yeah.
Golden Age Batman. They weren't number ones. There were a couple of first 10, but I knew I had a serious collection on my hands, and I told them that I would take them in on consignment, and I would make a serious effort to sell them. And I used serious display space to show them off. And they sat probably a couple months before one of my preferred customers walked in and said, Tommy, I got to have them.
Wow.
And I threw the numbers at him, and I think they were something like $20,000.
Yeah. Wow.
And he wrote 2 checks for $10,000 a piece.
Wow.
And
just on that day, he's just like, I gotta have these, and boom.
well, I'm sure he was giving it serious thought and talking to his wife about it. And he knew how serious these books were and how hard to come by they actually were.
Yeah.
These were among the truly hard to come by books that you'll ever see.
Yeah.
And condition wise, if they were graded on a scale of 1 to 10, most of them would fall into the 3,
Oh no.
3, 4, 5 category.
Yeah.
But it didn't matter. They were so rare that even in that grade, they were worth serious money.
I can imagine. Yeah.
They were that rare. Yeah. It was a beautiful thing.
Yeah. I was looking at Batman issue number 1 was in there. Wonder Woman and Superboy from the 1940s. Like, that's crazy. Like, that's insane. There was Detective comic issues where it was like Robin's 3rd appearance and worth about $1,000, and that predated the actual Batman series, that's really awesome. That's really, really cool. Question. So what would you say, as far as you had mentioned that the competition is difficult in a business like this? Do you have any experiences where competition negatively impacted your business or
When I got into the business, I think I was researching basic retail business, and the expectation that I had laid before me was you buy something for $1 and you sell it for $1.50.
Right.
Or whatever. Your markup was supposed to be anywhere from 20 to 35%. Well, I found this not to be the real thing, at least not in the card and comic business. It was closer to 5 to 10%. And it took me a long time to learn this and figure it out and realize that I'm never going to become rich selling this stuff at any price.
Yeah.
But I was doing it out of just love of being my own boss.
Yeah.
Just being the entrepreneur, and if I could do the business and keep a roof over my family's head and food on the table, I could be satisfied with that.
Yeah, absolutely. When you said you were doing well enough in like the late 80s to say, okay, I don't have to work with the water company anymore.
Right.
When was there any point where, I mean, throughout your tenure, because you made it last for a long time, which is awesome. Was there was it safe and easy selling throughout that time, or were there months or years where you're like, oh man, like we're in the red, we need to like.
In 1994, Major League Baseball went on strike.
Oh, I know.
That was. It could have been the end.
Yeah.
Altogether.
Right.
I knew I had to leave Main Street. Ultimately, I thought I was going to have to leave Metuchen. And I got lucky. I found a location right on Pennsylvania Avenue,
Yes.
a couple of doors over from the taxi place, where there was once an antique collectible store
Yes.
right next to another antique store. Two women that had been friends, competitors, call them what you may, were selling old stuff.
What came in after you when you left that area was also an antique store, just for the
Yeah,
record.
yeah.
It's interesting.
Right.
But no, so that was the reason you moved. The baseball strike was a big.
Absolutely. The baseball strike was killing the business.
I never knew that.
I mean, who wants to collect cards and players that are on strike?
Yeah, right.
I hate this game. I want more money. You know, I mean, it was such a bad look, and it left such a bad taste in people's mouths that it was probably at that time that I counted on the comic books to do better than the cards. You know,
Right. Did you ever get into the comics as far as any of the stories and the characters, or you were more like just looking at the trends?
Yeah. Batman and Superman, both of them. I followed them pretty closely.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, there was a period of time where they wanted to kill off Robin.
They did at one point.
Well,
yeah,
it was voted on.
Yeah, I didn't
by
realize
the collectors. The readers of the magazine could vote how they wanted Robin to end up. And
get blown up by the Joker.
Thumbs down.
It was.
We don't really care for this guy.
It was the Death in the Family. I bought that from you. A Death in the Family. Yeah, okay. that was a big one, man. Yeah. Voted. I didn't realize it was voted.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So I didn't realize you that was the reason why you switched. And I just, some of the things that you had too in the other place, you had autograph. This was really cool. Autograph baseball from Warren Spahn, Bobby Thompson, Ralph Branca, autographs from Bob Hope, Jack Dempsey. Do you remember all these items?
Most of them.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys were still alive at the time, and they were doing card shows.
Okay.
You know, so a lot of them were still affordable, and but I found in the hobby itself, what have you done for me lately?
Mm-hmm.
Kids and collectors wanted memorabilia of the current stars.
Right.
And as long as you stayed healthy as a star, you were producing, and people wanted more and more of you.
Right.
Ken Griffey, A-Rod, McGuire.
Sure.
I mean, these guys were all bigger than life heroes at some point, you know.
And you probably got this. So Don Mattingly, for a short period of time, people forget, he was one of the most dominant players in baseball, if not. So you probably got to see firsthand the rise of his stock as far as like cards and memorabilia, and like a drastic fall.
He got hurt and refused surgery. He figured, I'm going to play with it, and I'm going to get through it.
Right.
On the other side of the coin, you had Dave Winfield, who had a similar back injury. He took the time off, got surgery, rehabilitated himself, came back and played in Hall of Fame fashion.
Yeah, right.
Donnie Boy, I love the guy. He couldn't perform as well as he did pre back problem.
Right.
He just couldn't do it. And today he's still not in the Hall of Fame, which I can't figure.
Insane. Yeah.
His numbers are comparable to Kirby Puckett.
Yes.
And Kirby's in the Hall.
Yeah, no, for sure. I preaching to the choir on that. I was a big Mattingly fan because at the time, before interleague play, I grew up going to both Shea Stadium and Yankee Stadium, and I was crushed. If you remember the series against Seattle when Don Mattingly got into the playoffs for the first time, and it was a 5-game series. The Yankees went up 2-0 on a Jim Leyritz home run in extra innings. And they lost 3 heartbreaking games in Seattle. And it was like Mattingly never got back. The Yankees built a dynasty, and it was just it was a crusher.
The Yankees should have gone to the World Series in '94. The strike.
Montreal
Yeah,
they were both running through the league. Well, the Mets could have made it, but the '94 Mets were not a good team. So talking about going back to over on Pennsylvania Avenue, if at that time with the you said the strike and business wasn't the same, and you went over because you were there for quite a while. How was business over there compared to 400 Main Street?
People found me.
Yeah.
I mean, the square footage was like a third or a quarter of what I had on Main Street.
Right.
I mean, I had to rent a what do you call those lockups? Storage bin.
Right.
I mean, and I'm paying for a couple of years on a storage bin where nothing of any serious value was coming out and paying for it,
Yeah,
So
sure.
like I was paying 2 rents.
Oh, man, yeah. Was it, because I think it said 2004-ish, you transitioned from the store and you went mostly online. Is that accurate, or am I missing?
2003, I closed the store with
okay.
intention of going online. I never did.
Oh.
I just never did. I got into the business to be hands-on, face-to-face.
Yeah.
Shake your hand, smile, thank you for your money. And I had, while I was still open the last 3-4 years, I was on eBay. I built a reputation.
Yeah, successful. Like I was looking at that.
I was fairly successful on eBay.
Yeah.
But I didn't like it. There was nothing about it that turned me on,
Yeah.
Nothing excited me.
Yeah.
And as a result, I ended up with a lot of merchandise taking up space in my garage and my cellar.
Wow. And to this day, do you still have it?
Yeah, I transferred a bulk of it to a friend.
Okay.
This friend was a high school kid back when I was in business. He had a job at the pet store. It was a pet store
I remember
on
this.
Street.
Sure. Yeah, I used to buy goldfish from them.
There you
It
go.
would last like 3 days. And whatever.
Well, Jerry came to work for me while I was still in high school and then out of high school and for a couple of years. And he's been a trusted friend. And so just to make room in my cellar, I asked him to come over one day, just take this shit out of here.
Yeah.
And whatever you can sell, great. You get the bigger piece. I was offering him 60-40,
Yeah.
We haven't sold the damn thing.
Yeah.
But at least it's not cluttering up my basement.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
I mean, when I closed store, the vintage stuff that I had sold.
Yeah.
That was never a problem. Stuff from the early 70s through the early 60s and 50s, it was all gone.
Right.
So I was stuck basically with a lot of stuff from the 90s and early 2000s, which to today are just not worth much.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it was just, there was like when my generation, like we grew up buying so many things and so many things we bought in bulk. And I remember the perfect example I always think of. Do you remember the comic book Spawn 1? Oh man.
What was his name?
Simmons. Tom McFarlane, the artist.
McFarlane.
Yeah. Yeah.
He became like an instant god.
Yes.
Todd McFarlane. God.
But the only thing is, everybody bought that number 1 at the same time. So I think it went up like $2. So but it was a good comic. It was a good series.
Yeah.
They had one. It was Spawn 4 that had like there was like a coupon in it. If you had that one, you were made in the shade. To this day, I think that's still worth a good amount of money. Since 2000, you said 2003, you closed 2004. What have you been doing since then?
I walked a couple of stores over to the taxi
Oh, okay.
stand,
Okay.
and Jimmy and his father Anthony were there.
Okay.
And over the years, we used to argue violently almost over parking space in front of the stores. And I said, well, how'd you like to have a previous store owner drive one of your cars, you know?
Yeah.
I became a taxi driver.
Okay.
I drove taxi, and I figured, you know, I'm gonna meet a lot of people, make a lot of contacts, and I'm gonna get something through the job.
Yeah, sure.
A next step, you know. Never happened. You know?
Yeah, sometimes
I just drove for like 8 years, and good times, bad times, and ended up leaving them to become a limo driver.
Oh, interesting.
For a local company in Woodbridge, Gem.
Okay.
The name itself says it all.
Yeah.
I mean, here, when I was a taxi driver, I used to try to change a few things, like let's dress like professionals.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
Because everybody look like the drivers all look like slobs. You know? I thought I don't have to be associated with that. You know? Give me a white shirt and a tie.
Yeah.
And I used to play music on the radio, good blues, rock and roll.
Yeah.
My customers love me.
I can imagine, man. You're always a man of the people.
That's it. It was customer service on a different level.
Yeah.
You know? And I did like it. But yeah, I went to Gem. I worked for them for 4 years. But during that time period, time just before leaving the taxi, my mother passed away.
I'm sorry.
And then a year or so into driving limo, my wife passed away. I mean, she was like 51.
Yeah.
That ain't supposed to happen. I married 12 years younger, figuring she would outlast me. Yeah, it didn't work out that way.
Especially such a awesome person, worked at the Y, trained people, fitness person, and I don't know. That was I was very, very sorry to hear that. Yeah, so you did some definite struggle, like definite ups and downs.
We all do, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I never looked at my own situations as woe is me. Why is this happening to me? It happens to everybody.
Yeah.
And it's how you handle it, how you get through it.
Well, absolutely.
It's not easy. I grew up with this Peter Pan syndrome. That carries through to today. You know, I'm still a kid at heart.
I love it, man.
You know? And yeah, I always wanted to do things my way.
Yeah.
And it's my way or the highway.
I love it, man. But that's why you make such a that's something I miss and miss the most is like the culture that you had there. Like, it's like you go there and talk to, you had cool employees that could talk comics. Like you could always talk sports. Everyone was always welcome.
Music,
everything. Yeah. Like where are you gonna go now? And it's just not. You go to a store and somebody's like on their phone and they're like, wait, huh? What? Like it's a different world.
Well, that's it. I'm a record collector, all right?
Yeah.
I mean, I lost the bulk of my record collection back in the 80s in my mother's basement. I had like six or eight full record boxes that got flooded.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
died. They were my prized possession over baseball cards or anything.
What was your top, like the top records that you had?
original Bob Dylan,
Oh,
original Beatles,
oh,
original Stones. You know,
that is painful. That's oh
classic
man.
rock. You know,
Yeah.
and probably some older stuff, even from the 50s. You know, that Elvis and Ricky Nelson and Paul Anka, Bobby Rydell, Dion. You know, I had some of their stuff too. You know.
Yeah.
And after I lost it all in my mother's basement, I started recollecting as
Yeah.
an adult. So right now I've got maybe a half a dozen boxes,
Oh, cool.
and that are gonna, you know, they gotta get split up between two daughters,
Yeah.
because they both grew up listening to classic rock, and they both have an appreciation for it.
Yeah. You had I was you how old are your daughters?
52 and 45.
Oh, very nice. What did I may have this confusion if you want. One of them was somewhat pretty high politically, weren't they?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
You know, I don't want to delve into. Yeah. I don't like. I was just interested. I was like, oh wow, how about
Yeah,
that?
she's married and living in Heightstown,
Okay.
and she ran for councilwoman recently.
Yeah.
But you know, New Jersey is a Democrat
Right.
base, and she's that other.
More in the other. All
Other,
right. Sure. Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
so she works hard at it, but she's probably in the wrong state or the wrong party or the wrong state to ever succeed.
Yeah.
But
Oh, that's still the game. That's interesting.
and my other daughter is up in Vermont.
Okay.
You know, she spent a couple of years up there, and then she came home. But then after being home a couple of years, she said, "I got to get out of Jersey and back to Vermont." She went, you know, and she's very happy in Vermont. You know?
We
Yeah.
I got to so my honeymoon we didn't have much money so we took a honeymoon to Vermont and it was more through a friend that had a house there. I'm like, you can use our house for a couple days. Like, all right, cool.
Yeah, that's
So
cool.
it was nice, but well, in theory. So we go up there, snowstorm in the mountains. I've never been so scared in my life driving, Tommy. And then so we get apparently we just missed their season, so it was an abandoned town. We're in the middle of the forest. The power goes out, and there were bears, and so it couldn't have been worse.
The adventure of.
And it's been we set a low bar in the beginning, so my marriage has been pretty good because we keep going up since. But it was 2 days we lasted. We were back in Jersey, so it was no good. Tommy, what your opinion of the changes in prices? You know, you had said that you know cards and it's crazy, right?
I don't really understand how the card business even exists today.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, and I'm serious. I don't know what the price is on a pack of cards. But if it was $1 or more 20 years ago, what is it today?
Well, I'm going to tell you right now. So baseball cards, it could for a pack. We're talking packs. It goes from anywhere from $5 to $10. So $10. Now that's the low end. The premium things like Bowman, Topps Chrome, Panini. I didn't know about Panini. So they can go from $20 to over $50 a pack. Inflation, man.
And what are you expecting to get out of that pack? Because
I don't know. I don't know.
Since I closed down, I think in 2005 and again in 2020, maybe, I bought a mini box of cards for $10, $15, whatever.
Okay.
And as I go through them today, there ain't $1 in value between the two boxes.
Yeah.
So what are we really spending our money on
Yeah.
when if you're really buying, even on a gamble, it's not even a good gamble.
Right.
You're better off buying scratch offs.
Yeah, literally.
Literally.
Or betting on all the 1 seeds in the NCAA tournament.
Or just go online and buy the card you want.
Yeah. Actually,
Because you know, if you're buying the card for say $20, you could spend $120 trying to get it out of a pack.
Right. Yeah.
You know, if that's all you wanted, especially, you know.
No, absolutely. Yeah, no, it's difficult. And that's one thing I also like with just we talked about a little bit before, but just knowing the trends and knowing what cards to buy and what to display. And how did you value that stuff? Like as far as like, was it talking to people? Did you use books? Did you how did you, figure out how to sell things?
There were books. They called them guides.
Like Wizard and all those. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, sure.
Beckett.
Yes.
For baseball cards for every sport. Beckett had a different book for each sport.
Yeah.
And they were artificial numbers. They were ballpark figures.
Right.
That you worked around, and anybody that tried to sell, a lot of their stuff at those prices didn't do well.
Right.
So where they gave you a range of $3 to $10, depending on condition, you ended up selling most of it at that $3 to $4 range.
Yeah.
Not because of condition, but because of demand.
Yeah, right.
I want it, but I don't want it at $10.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
yeah. If you could do it over again, or so say you were would you take the same route? Would you still have gone into the business? Were there any lessons that you would say, oh, I wish we did X instead of Y or A instead of B?
I wished that I could have seen the future a little bit better. I wish that I could have recognized gaming as the next big thing. If I had, I'd be very well off today. I was in Philadelphia at a convention, Comic-Con, where, what's the name of the company?
Video game?
Huh?
Video game company?
No. Card game, pre-Pokemon.
Magic?
Magic,
yeah.
Magic the Gathering.
Magic the Gathering.
The very first cases of cards were there on the floor.
Yeah.
I don't remember the prices, but I didn't have enough confidence in the product or the concept of people are going to pay money for gaming cards that they're going to play with, and they've got these characters on them.
Yeah. Oh.
I left literally millions of dollars for it. I mean, there were millions and millions of dollars sitting on that floor, and I didn't.
I don't know if the company Nintendo. I don't know if you know, it originally started out as a card company in the 1800s. So it's been around for
really.
So that's how. Yeah. So it was in its DNA to be a successful card thing. But that's insane. Oh man.
Yeah. The original Magic the Gathering.
Wow.
And then when Japanese products like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh came out, I didn't invest big time in it. I'd buy a box at a time and see how the customers went for it, and they did.
Yeah.
And I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I still can't, you know.
It's so hard.
But yeah, and then they had these discs. I can't even remember what they call them.
Pogs.
Pogs.
I remember the Pog craze.
We had a Pog
I was in
convention
that.
in my store one day, and the kids were going nuts over this stuff.
Oh, they loved him.
And I'm picturing the presses punching these things out. You just gave me $10 for this one.
Oh, I was in on that craze, man. The slammers and the
yeah. I could never fully appreciate it.
Yeah, it's interesting,
until I tried operating 2 stores at one time.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I had a store in Woodbridge, right near the high school.
I didn't know that. Okay.
And it was a smaller store, and the lesson I got out of it is if you don't have blood helping you with your business, you better have eyes behind your head and wherever.
I've heard this from a few people.
I had a guy in there selling his own stuff. Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
I would bring him a binder full of cards. He would put my binder on the lower shelf and put his binder on the top of the counter and just collect cash all day long.
Wow.
And I'm wondering why my store isn't doing any business. And that was it, you know.
That's insane because had he not done that, you would have seen like, wow, Magic's really going off the shelf. I need to get him. That's a shame. Yeah. That's not cool. That's not cool.
Well, over the years, I had employees literally stealing from me, and I would catch them, kids.
Yeah.
And it'd be embarrassing to have to call the father or the mother.
Yeah.
So you kid just tried to steal $400 out of my register.
Are you kidding me? Right out of the register?
Yeah, like I said, there was very little paperwork, but I knew what kind of business I had done for the first 3 hours that day.
Yeah, sure.
And I went to check it out.
Yeah.
And the numbers are way under what I knew I did.
Yeah.
And that kid down there, he's working for me. And I had to put him on the spot and empty your pockets, man.
And
you actually need the money.
Yeah. Wow. What do you do? Do you press charges in that case? Or you just cut bait and say, "Get out of here"?
Yeah, I leave it to the parents.
Yeah.
They wanted me to keep them on and
oh no!
I'm not going to babysit this.
Yeah, you're lucky he's not making license plates, right? Like it's right. What the heck? Wait, so one thing I wanted, when you said you had 2 card stores, the one was in
Woodbridge.
Was it the Ford's location, like over there? Was it that one?
No, that was the original.
The original, right?
That
Okay.
was the original.
Oh, okay. So then you
back in 85, 86.
Yes. And was that an actual store, or was that like tables and you're like set up?
Yeah, it was an actual store, but it was set up with tables and portable showcases.
Oh, and that was the one with the pinball where you saw
that.
That was okay. I got that confused. I got my timelines confused.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Tommy, you also mentioned, I don't know if you want to mention, you're a pool player. Like, I thought that's really interesting. That's cool.
It's my link to the rest of civilization. I don't sell cards anymore. I don't collect cards anymore. I occasionally get confronted with people who want to know what their stuff is worth, and I point them to a price guide website and tell them to, you got stuff from the 80s? Put them away and give them away.
Yeah.
You got a nephew, you got a son. Can't go wrong.
Yeah.
Give it away. You're not gonna make any if you couldn't make any money back then with it, you ain't gonna make any money today with it. Nothing serious.
Yeah, no.
No, I always had a thing for pool. Even here in Metuchen, there was a pool hall back here in the 60s.
I didn't know that. Interesting.
Big names used to play out of it.
Okay.
Mizrak.
Oh, the Miz. Yeah, yeah.
They played here.
I didn't know that.
And
Minnesota Fats.
well, I don't know about Minnesota, but I used to play there, and I had a 6-foot table in my basement. And so, but I had nobody teaching me how to play.
Right.
So I grew at a snail's pace,
Right.
and I never got really proficient at it, but I knew that I loved the game. And so later in life, when I didn't have the obligations of family, and I joined a community center in Woodbridge.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
That has 2 tables up on the 2nd floor. That if you're a member, you're free to play there.
Is that the place with the ice skating rink and all that? Oh, interesting. Okay, yeah.
But down the hall from there is a private senior citizen billiard club, Woodbridge Senior Citizen Billiard. And I took a walk over there and looked inside. 5 tables lined up, 8-footers,
Wow.
9-footer, applications within. I filled out an application, and I waited 3 months before they called me in,
Jeez.
interview, and I joined. I've been there for 9 years now.
Wow.
It is the greatest thing since Swiss cheese.
That's so cool.
$60 yearly
Oh,
fee. Yearly. The place is open at 6 o'clock in the morning. Don't close until 9 at night. And if you're a member, you just walk in
Oh.
any day of the week.
I think
A couple of holidays that they're closed, like Christmas. I mean, it's like heaven sent.
That's so awesome. I think my parking's gonna cost more than 60
Oh,
today.
Absolutely. That was the biggest faux pas.
Yeah.
In Metuchen.
Right.
Back then. Back in the 80s, 90s. Where the hell do you park?
Yeah.
And I used to be really pissed off because I thought, I am losing so much business because somebody's driving around the block and can't find a place to park.
Yeah.
Or doesn't have the meter money.
Right. That's could be really annoying.
I live in Woodbridge. They don't have any meters.
Yeah.
They encourage shoppers.
Yeah. You would think, right? Like, and it's like there's enough.
They're coming to spend their money in your store, and you're telling them, well, you got to park, you got to pay for the privilege. Come on,
absolutely.
Yeah, you think you are?
Yeah, no.
There's another card shop right down the road in a town that you don't have to pay to park.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I could see that. Speaking
or
of
a coffee shop, or a pizzeria, or any of these businesses that depend on walk-in business.
Yeah.
Parking?
Right.
That's going to be your biggest problem?
Yeah. And so it goes all the way back then in like the 80s and 90s. I was walking at the
still
time. I didn't
exists?
know. Yeah. Oh, now it's like Hoboken out there now, but
well, that's a parking lot. The building there, right?
Yeah.
It used to be a lot.
Right. Yes, I remember.
It used
Sure.
to be a lot, and there was somebody. I don't know if in this building or building across the street, a parking register. Where if you wanted a private parking spot, you had to pay through them.
Okay.
To get it,
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, it's changed a lot. Do you remember? Because again, at the time I was walking, and like how much traffic and congestion has changed in this area from when you were here. Was it always crazy bad in your? Oh, it was. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if it still happens. You got that bridge on Main Street.
Trucks in it.
Yeah, does that still happen?
Oh, all the time. In fact, how long have we been here? Maybe.
Yeah, right.
Might be happening as we speak.
How many times per month?
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
it's got to be one of the worst bridges in the country.
Yes.
With a record.
Yes.
You know that.
I have,
Unbelievable.
I have,
You from my store, you could hear it happening. Crunch! Holy shit! And everybody go outside to look.
Could you? How bad would you feel like you're one of those? You just must be like, like this. What a bad day. Like it's. I don't know. I can't. It's crazy. But Tommy, real quick, rapid fire. Before we wrap this thing up here. Couple quick questions. Who is your favorite all-time baseball player?
Favorite?
Yeah.
Mickey Mantle.
Oh, he goes Mickey Mantle. You did say that. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
I can remember watching him on a black and white TV.
Yeah.
And I can remember him striking out and flipping his bat up in the air out of disgust. I can remember this, like it really happened.
I like do you remember Bo Jackson? We used to break it over.
One of my favorite cards is of him bare-chested, like this on a card. Yeah, I remember him breaking bats. I love Bo Jackson.
Oh, he was such a beast.
I do.
Such a beast.
And he would be regarded as a gentleman.
Yeah.
He would talk to you like people, not like Reggie Jackson, where
you think who they are.
Yeah.
Mr. October. Do you
right?
Of all the cards that you had, what would you say was the most unusual or rare one that you were like, wow, I have a Babe Ruth rookie? Yeah, I'm just saying, like what card was your biggest prized possession?
That's tough. I have a ticket stub from 1956 World Series.
Oh my gosh.
In really, really nice condition.
Yankees Dodgers?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Who else?
Yeah. Right. I think they played every year.
And I'm not sure if it was Larson's team or not.
Oh yeah, sure. That's the
56. But
did you ever see like Mantle play live and stuff?
I'm sorry?
Did you ever see Mantle play in person?
Oh yeah.
You did?
Yeah. Because he played, even though he wasn't healthy, he played through 67, 68.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw him play.
Wow.
And I saw him hit home runs. And I saw him and Roger Maris hit home runs on the same day.
The M&M boys.
My first trip to Yankee Stadium was from I was a newspaper boy. I was paper boy of the week or whatever. And I got a free ride and tickets paid to Yankee Stadium for a day game in 1961. So I was 13 years old?
Yeah. So
it was awesome.
That was when the chase was going on, right?
I didn't go with a parent.
Yeah.
I went with a group of kids on a bus.
Wow.
Hardly supervised. And I was just awestruck. Hector Lopez hit a home run that day, and Mantle and Maris.
Wow.
And when the game was over, you got out of your seat and you walked across the field.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
You walked across the field, and on the field, I'm not going to say that it was there when I was walking, but between innings, the players used to leave their glove out on the field.
Wow.
So I'm looking on the ground to see if anybody's glove is there. I didn't see any, but yeah, you walked literally across the infield, outfield to get to your bus.
You can still do that, and then you get to meet New York's finest, and they give you a place to stay.
There you go.
Wow. That's insane, though. Wow.
It was.
Yeah.
As a kid growing up, that season was remarkable. I mean, the Maris 61 home
Yeah.
run. So,
Well, I'll say I was a little older than you were, but with the McGuire and Sosa, and then
those were fun years, even as an adult. I mean,
yes,
they were fun years to watch McGuire and Sosa and Barry Bonds.
Oh man, yeah. It just got to the point though, it was getting broken so often. It was like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Now it's getting suspicious.
And there were very few big stars that got off clean.
Yeah.
Ricky got off clean.
Oh,
Frank Thomas got off clean.
yeah,
Piazza got off pretty clean.
right.
There's question marks next to Ricky Henderson.
Yeah, well, he passed pretty early, so it's you never know. Like, where's that the result of things? I don't know what he passed from. I shouldn't say that, but
I love the guy.
yeah.
Ricky was great.
Oh, he was.
Ricky was great.
The stories about him like making his own space in his locker and putting up barriers.
Poker games.
Yeah. Oh man, the 1999 series, man. We're just like, well, that's it. We're out. And yeah, no, interesting. Last question on this: if you, it's kind of similar with the baseball card, but favorite all-time comic book? Do you have one that you really hold in high regard?
I had one I appreciated more for its cover than its storyline, but even the storyline I can appreciate to the degree that it coincides with a lot of mythology.
Interesting.
And that was a Marvel cover with Thor and his hammer, and Loki.
Oh, cool.
I mean, if I'm big into YouTube and ancient civilizations and stuff today, and they were mythological heroes. They weren't made up for comics.
Right.
Comics kind of stole them.
Yeah, right. Sure.
Said, hey, yeah, we could do something with these characters,
Yeah.
And they did.
Yeah. So that would be like your top one, your top comic?
I don't have a top comic. I mean, I loved all the Superman and the Batman stories.
Yeah.
I kept it all in perspective.
Yeah.
I never got carried away with any of them.
That's cool. That's
great. I couldn't say that with athletes. I could get very close to athletes, and their impression on me was different.
Yeah. No,
I mean, pool players. You got this Philippine Efren Reyes. Hardly speak English, but he used to sleep on the friggin' pool tables as a kid.
Wow.
And he played, and he played, and he played. And today he's considered a magician on the table.
Wow.
He can make shots where you didn't even think there was 1,000,000 to 1 chance.
Yeah.
And he would
wow.
just do these things that you couldn't imagine. And because he could do these things, he left the average man with the impression, I can do it.
Right.
You can do it.
Yeah.
And we all try.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I have good days and bad days, and I'm not a great pool player. I'm nowhere near pro. I'm Mr. Average.
Right.
But on a given day, I can beat anybody.
Yeah, I believe it.
On a given day,
That's
it's
cool.
it's like Don Larson on that given day.
No one was getting a hit on him. Yeah.
Nobody got a hit on him.
Yeah.
And he never came close to that status ever. He's not in the Hall of Fame.
I actually didn't know that. He's not a Hall of
He's
Famer?
not a Hall of Famer. His statistics are average.
Yeah.
But he had the day.
Yes.
He had the moment.
That's what it's all about.
That's you got to cherish the moments, that people have.
Definitely. I tell you, pool and bowling are two sports that I've played a lot, and I've never gotten any better since I was a little kid. I'm still miserable at both.
I play better now at 76 than I did at 21.
That's
You know,
awesome.
because I didn't keep it up.
Right.
I had a table in my basement. Nobody taught me how to play on it. As a result, I never became even average as in my youth.
Yeah.
But I knew I liked the game.
Right.
So as I got old, I took it up.
That's
Now
awesome.
I play out of bars. I never thought I'd see myself doing this, but I play in leagues that are sponsored by various bars.
That's awesome.
So you can go into a bar with my cup of coffee.
Yes.
And sit at the bar with a pool stick in one hand, coffee in the other. Enjoy yourself like everybody else in the place is doing, and get a shot at the table.
Yeah.
In league,
right.
Where your games actually mean something to somebody besides yourself. You know, you're part of a team.
Yeah. That's cool.
So I've been doing that for 8-9 years.
You're saying you're average? How is that possible? You're probably like, you probably take someone like me to school, man. I'd be like,
that wouldn't necessarily be saying much.
No, I guess it wouldn't.
I play at the community center with 100 members. 75% of them play pool, and 50% of them play almost every day.
Right.
Some of them are much better than I am.
Right.
Much. And others never really get it.
Yeah,
but they keep trying. You know, that's cool. So I'm somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
I have my good days, and I have my shitty days.
Yeah. That's
like anything.
It is like yeah, no, absolutely.
It keeps me grounded.
Heck yeah, man. Like you said, just those little things, like just getting out and like I have hobbies like that as well.
Yeah, that's it. I don't get out. Right. But I get out to shoot pool.
Yeah.
A couple of times a week.
That's awesome.
Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
1 o'clock. What are you doing on a Sunday afternoon? You're watching a ball game.
Yeah.
Indoors. Those ball games are on the big screen in these bars.
Yeah,
you
sure.
Watch them.
Yeah, you can still make it happen. Yeah. I know I said last question before, but this was one of the take-home messages I wanted to put in. Somebody that's interested in getting into the business, selling merchandise, whether it be online or opening their own store, what advice would you give them if they're just starting off now? Because you gave it a warning in an article. You're like, hey, you better have some deep pockets. You better be ready for some competition because like it could get dicey.
Get educated.
Get educated, yeah. As far as the trends and
get educated in basic handling of money, the tax system, and educate yourself in your specific field. Know what cards are and what they're virtually worth. Comic book, same thing. Have an idea. If somebody walks into your store with a relic, you recognize it as a relic.
Yeah.
You don't treat it as an ashtray.
Right. Sure. Yeah.
And education is important, and especially in today's business.
Yeah.
And especially if you want to make a living at it and support a family.
Yes. Absolutely.
It's one thing if it's just a weekend thing. There's a lot of weekend warriors out there that are doing flea markets, or setting up in shows,
Right.
And it's hard to compete with them because they don't have the time and money invested in it as you do as an entrepreneur,
right? Yeah, I could see that being difficult.
Yeah, if you're going to enter their territory, you might as well be prepared.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense. It's a good take home message.
Yeah,
to education. I love it. But man, I'm gonna wrap this here. Tommy, you're the first person to do this, so thank you for the opportunity. And yeah, Tommy, I hope this turns into something. You come back and talk with us, man. It's been a pleasure, bro.
I had fun.
Yeah, it's
Fun.
cool. And thanks for
Yeah,
the patience and the my makeshift setup here. And you're a gentleman.
Hey,
So.
it's all good. It's all good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm not a big social media guy. I'm
Right.
not on Facebook or anything. I mean, nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is like a first.
This is cool, man.
And
Hey,
somebody that doesn't even know me can see or hear this
yeah,
conversation.
absolutely.
Form an opinion. I don't care.
Oh no, you're great,
But,
man. You're great for today and for the past.
But I would love to have people that do remember me
yeah,
check this out.
I would love that. Yeah.
I shoot pool with kids. I look at them as kids. They're in their 40s and they
Sweet, man.
remember me.
Yeah, hell yeah, heck
They
yeah.
remember me. I can't
Yeah.
believe it. It's kind of cool.
You made a big impression, man, and that's why I'm really happy you took this call on a whim, and it's been awesome, brother. So hey, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. This was really cool.
Thanks,